Hi, both. Thanks for joining us today on our Business Gurus channel, where we will be discussing key business topics to help students grasp the most important elements of their course in preparation for their exams and future career. Let's get started.
Okay, let's unpack this. We often look at business success through, well, profits, right?
Mm,
Quarterly reports, stock prices,
the usual metrics.
exactly. But every big decision a company makes, like where it builds something, the
Yeah.
processes it uses, how much stuff it makes,
hmm
it sends ripples way beyond just the balance sheet. It affects people.
Absolutely.
So that leads to the question, who actually gets a say? Who has a right to weigh in on how a business operates, even if they, don't own any stock?
Who has a stake in the game?
Yeah, besides the investors.
And that's really the core question for this deep dive. Today, we're zeroing in on this fundamental idea of business stakeholders.
Right.
And specifically, we're going to drill down into one group whose influence, well, it's often overlooked in strategy meetings, I think.
Which group is that?
The local community.
Ah, the neighbors.
Precisely. So our mission here is to go beyond the obvious ones, the owners,
Mhm.
the managers inside the company. We want to build a really clear, actionable understanding of those external forces a business deals with, especially defining who these neighbors are
Uh-huh.
and really detailing the three main things, sort of non-negotiables that they expect from the company operating nearby.
Okay, that sounds crucial. But before we get straight to the neighborhood demands,
Right.
we probably need to map out the terms just quickly.
Yeah.
Stakeholder language can get a bit confusing.
It can, yeah.
Our sources help here. So, quick categories. Stakeholders, internal, external, shareholder, owner, employees, customers, suppliers, and the community. Lots to juggle.
Yeah, quite a list.
So, at the, let's say, the highest level,
Yeah.
a stakeholder. That's basically anyone with a vested interest, right?
In whether the company succeeds or fails, yeah.
Okay. Now, let's split them into two main camps. Internal stakeholders,
The insiders.
right, inside the building, metaphorically speaking.
Mm-hmm.
Think owner, management, the employees themselves.
Their success, their risk. It's directly tied to the company's performance, to their paycheck.
Exactly. Payroll, operational output, all that.
And defining those internal relationships, well, it's relatively straightforward usually. Their goals, profit, wages, good performance, they're mostly aligned.
Even if there's some friction, yeah.
Sure, but the real complexity, where things get unpredictable and you need careful negotiation, that's with the external stakeholders.
Okay, the outsider.
These are groups totally outside the company's payroll or its management structure, but, and this is key, they're still deeply impacted by what the business does.
They don't report to the CEO,
Nope,
but they feel the company's actions every day, potentially.
you got it. And if you think bigger picture, successfully managing these external relationships,
Right.
that's where good strategy really hits the ground running. It's crucial.
And the source materials give us the classic examples here, right? Customers, they want good products. Suppliers, they need reliable contracts.
Standard stuff.
But then there's a third one you mentioned, the local community, and maybe the most challenging.
Often, yes. Because they aren't asking for better prices or faster shipping times.
No. What are they asking for?
They're essentially negotiating about the quality of their own daily lives.
Right. Okay, that really shifts the perspective, which brings us, like you said, to where it gets really interesting.
The definition.
Yeah, the specific definition of the local community.
Mhm.
Because this group, they can be sort of invisible on a quarterly report,
Completely.
but they become very loud, very fast if something goes wrong, chemical spill or sudden mass layoffs.
And they're standing their right to have a say. It comes from a very simple definition. They are the people living nearby who are affected by the business.
Affected. That's the key word.
It is. Notice, it's got nothing to do with a contract or an investment.
Right.
It's purely about geography living nearby and tangible impact being affected.
So if a shareholder's power comes from their money, their capital,
Uh-huh.
where does the community's power come from? They don't have that same legal standing as an owner.
No, they don't. Their power is, well, it's social and political mainly. It's their ability to organize, to protest. They can cause delays with permits, influence local laws. Their actual influence can be way bigger than their lack of a direct financial tie might suggest.
That makes sense. Just being affected gives them that standing. Like, if a company opens a huge data center,
Yeah.
the community feels the energy use, the extra traffic. Or if a factory goes 204/7,
The noise, late at night.
exactly. That immediate, unavoidable impact means the company has to respond. They're not just watching from the sidelines.
They're involuntary participants in a way.
So given that they're kind of pulled into this,
Yeah.
what do they actually demand? What are they asking for?
Okay, this is where our source material is super helpful. It boils things down.
Today.
It takes all the complex expectations and identifies 3 core demands. You could almost call them non-negotiable categories.
The 3 things a business has to deliver or handle well.
If it wants to coexist peacefully in that location.
Yeah.
Okay, what are they?
Well,
Thinking about these gives you, the listener, a framework, right? To immediately gauge potential friction points.
sorry.
Demand number 1. This is the most straightforward, the most easily measured. It's about direct economic benefit.
Jobs.
Okay, jobs. Makes sense.
The community expects the business to provide stable work, decent pay, and ideally for local people.
Right. That's the positive side. That's often why a community might welcome a business in the first place.
It's the main carrot, usually.
But businesses need to be careful here, don't they? Just providing jobs isn't always enough. It doesn't automatically get you off the hook for the other demands.
Not at all.
Sometimes trying to create the most jobs, maybe by using older, cheaper machines or running longer hours, that can directly clash with what the neighbors want in terms of peace and quiet.
That tension, that conflict, it leads right into the second demand.
Okay.
And this is where the balancing act gets really, really tricky. Demand 2, low pollution.
Jobs, yes. Pollution, no.
Exactly. If the community wants the economic engine, the jobs, the tax money from the factory, they simultaneously want none of the environmental cost that comes with it. That sounds like wanting to have your cake and eat it too.
Well, it's what economists call negative externalities. Basically, a cost that hits a third party of community, in this case,
Right.
because of something the company does its operations, but the community gets no direct compensation for that cost.
So that could be anything from, I don't know, more trucks making noise at rush hour?
Yeah, that's a mild one. Or it could be much more serious. Soil contamination, polluted water running into local streams.
Okay. And the trade-off here is fascinating, isn't it? The business naturally wants to maximize its output, which often means keeping costs down,
Standard business logic.
but low pollution.
Yeah.
That almost always means spending more money.
High investment, yeah. Better filters, quieter equipment, proper waste disposal. Sometimes even needing more expensive land farther away from homes.
So the community is basically demanding that the company eats the full cost of cleaning up its own mess.
So that their quality of life doesn't suffer.
Okay,
Exactly.
Let's imagine a scenario. Say a business could save $1 million using an older, dirtier boiler. And maybe that lets them hire 10 more local people. That's a direct trade-off, right? Jobs versus environment.
Classic dilemma.
And according to our sources, the community fundamentally expects the company to do both. Hire the 10 people and buy the expensive, clean boiler.
That's the expectation. And it's not just smokestacks, right? It's broader.
How so?
Well, if the company is, say, a huge distribution center, low pollution might mean minimizing noise from loading docks late at night.
Noise pollution.
Or managing the visual impact.
Yeah.
You know, not putting up a huge, ugly building right next to a residential area without some thought. It's about preserving the local environment socially and physically.
Got it. Okay, so we have jobs and low pollution. What's the third one?
The third one moves us beyond just economics and the environment. It steps into the social contract. Demand 3, support for local causes.
Okay, so this is about giving back.
It's more than just generic corporate social responsibility you might see on a website. It's about being a local partner.
Hyper-local, you said earlier.
Yeah, it's the expectation that the business will actually invest in the community's social fabric.
So, like, sponsoring the high school football team.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or chipping in for the town library renovation, maybe providing volunteers for a local food drive, things like that.
The optics here must be huge.
Immense. A company could be perfectly fine on emissions, provide good jobs, but if it seems aloof,
Like it doesn't care about the town itself.
right, if it acts like some foreign entity that just takes resources and ships profits elsewhere, never contributing, it's going to build resentment. It'll face pushback.
So demanding support for local causes,
Yeah,
it's like the community saying, show us you're committed to being here long term.
kind of. It's like an unspoken deal. Okay, we put up with the extra traffic and maybe some noise because you provide jobs and economic benefits.
But you need to reinvest some of that prosperity back into making our town, our community better.
That's the essence of it.
Wow. So the real challenge for management is juggling all three of these, isn't it?
Simultaneously. That's the kicker.
Yeah.
You need to deliver the economic goods, the jobs,
Uh-huh.
while really actively minimizing the environmental and logistical hassles, the low pollution side.
Right.
And you need to dedicate actual resources, time, money to local social investment, supporting local causes,
And they can conflict too. Like sometimes the cheapest way to cut pollution might be automation.
which cuts jobs, puts demand one and demand two head to head.
Exactly. It's a tough balancing act.
No easy answers sometimes.
So the source material we looked at, it's not just giving us definitions. It's really giving you, the listener, a window into where the immediate pressure points are.
That's the practical value.
If you're ever in a situation dealing with community relations, maybe proposing an expansion, maybe handling a PR crisis,
Mm-hmm.
these three demands,
Mm.
jobs, low pollution, local causes, that's the lens the community is going to use to judge the company's actions.
It pretty much defines the whole playing field locally. Understand that your neighbors measure you by jobs, footprint, and generosity.
And you've got a shortcut to figuring out how they'll likely react in almost any local situation.
Right. It's a very useful framework.
Okay, so we've covered some really critical ground today.
Mm-hmm.
We sorted out stakeholders, internal versus external.
Yep.
And most importantly, we pulled out that three-point checklist for what the local community really wants. Jobs, low pollution, and support for local causes.
Showing exactly where those friction points tend to be.
That framework,
Yeah.
that should be incredibly helpful for anyone working in or analyzing a business.
That strategic insight should serve you well. But let's leave you with a final thought, something to chew on.
Okay.
If we take this framework and connect it back to the real world, businesses often face financial trouble, right? They need to cut costs.
Unfortunately, yes.
So, knowing there's this built-in tension between the three demands, and knowing that creating jobs costs money, and reducing pollution also costs significant money, which of those three community demands jobs, low pollution, or support for causes? Do you think a business under severe financial pressure is most likely to quietly sacrifice first?
Which one gets cut when the budget gets tight?
And, maybe more importantly, why might that be the strategic choice even if it's unpopular? That's your deep dive question to think about until next time.
Thanks to both of you for joining us today. You've been listening to the Business Gurus. Let's now hand it over to you. What further questions do you have based on what we've discussed so far? Leave a comment and we'll get back to you right away. If you haven't already, hit that follow for more business tips.